As chairman of the Raynham Board of Selectmen and on behalf of the Raynham Association of Volunteers for Education, it's my honor to welcome you to our 18th annual Veterans Day salute to our U.S. troops past and present. This is a very special occasion because as we commemorate Veterans Day, we join with communities across the country in honoring those veterans who have served our country over the years. We also, however, want to show our respect to those members of the military who serve our country today. RAVE's annual Veterans Day salute actually began 17 years ago at the Raynham Middle School to honor one of the school's staff members at that time, custodian Keith Ledeen, who had been called to active duty to serve in the United States Air Force National Guard following the September 11, 2001 terrorist attack on United States soil. Today we dedicate this ceremony to all veterans and members of the military who serve and protect here and abroad in times of war and peace, and who through their efforts safeguard those freedoms that we all treasure. We especially remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, losing their lives in the line of duty. Since we began this program in 2003, we have honored the memory of former Raynham student Brian Oliveri, who died in military service in 2004, joining the long list of fallen heroes of Operation Enduring Freedom. Since 2006, we have taken the occasion to pay special tribute to the memory of Army Sergeant First Class Jared Monty, a true American hero who was posthumously awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor by President Barack Obama at a White House ceremony. Overall, the number of Raynham soldiers killed in active duty has included 17 during the Civil War, 14 during World War II, 3 in Vietnam, 1 in Iraq, and 1, Sergeant Monty, in Afghanistan. Please join us in honoring all of our country's fallen heroes, as well as all of our veterans and current members of our military on this Veterans Day.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the guns bursting in air, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I come from a family with a strong military background. My grandfather, Matthias Murphy, was a career naval serviceman serving in World War II. My father, along with his brother, served in the U.S. Army, while my mother's brothers proudly served in the Air Force and Marines, all during the Vietnam era. Growing up, I was often reminded that it is ordinary people, like the family members I just mentioned, and all the veterans in attendance here this morning, who served our great nation in extraordinary ways, as means of ensuring that all Americans can pursue freedoms and happiness that our founding fathers envisioned. Through their service, they help keep America strong, and they have protected our way of life for almost 2.5 centuries. As Americans, we set aside November 11th each year as a day to reflect, remember, and honor those who have served the United States Armed Forces. Each year, our humble words on Veterans Day can never do justice to the sacrifices made by our veterans, by those who have returned to us and those who have not, by those who live among us and those who live within our memories. We know that we can never truly repay the debt, but we still try each and every year for their sacrifices live within our hearts. On this Veterans Day, boys and girls, I ask that you not only recognize and remember veterans, but more importantly, celebrate them. I always say and truly believe that life is our greatest classroom. With that being said, I ask that all of the students in this gymnasium this morning learn from a veteran. Like a veteran, always be proud of this great country. Like a veteran, always be kind and caring to your fellow man. And like our veterans, especially those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our great country, always do the right thing, even and especially when it's the most difficult thing to do. Thank you once again to all of our veterans for all that you have done to ensure our safeties and freedoms. Please know that your efforts will never go unrecognized. God bless Raynham, God bless America, and God bless all those who have and continue to defend her. Thank you.
Hello, students of the school district here for BR. I'm Master Sergeant Kevin Moreira. I know we're doing this year a little bit more uniquely, but you've been doing remote learning at home, so we've been working on unique all school year so far. So I wanted to talk really quickly what the holiday means to me, and two things come to mind: service and sacrifice. When I was a senior here at the high school for Bridgewater Raynham, my senior year, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I decided to go into service. Service for me was joining the military. I'm the first person in my family to join the service here in the United States, as I'm the son of immigrants. My father, growing up, would tell us stories about his time in the service in the country he came from, in Portugal. So I found that interesting and unique, and I kind of wanted that same feeling. So I signed up my senior year and went off into service. I did my service my first couple years, and everything went well. Then we had the events of 9/11. Well, my service turned into sacrifice, because I was called in to go to Iraq in 2003 and again back in 2005. And what I mean by sacrifice, it's not just sacrifice that you get to go into harm's way, it's sacrifice of what you leave behind. My first tour in Iraq in 2003, I had just gotten married. We were expecting our first child, and I actually missed the birth of my first child, who was actually a senior this year and will be graduating from the school district. My second tour, I actually left with who now is currently a sophomore at BR, my second child, who was only a couple months old. So when we talk about sacrifice, we have to look at the sacrifices that our veterans have put into their time in service, not just by going away themselves, but the sacrifices that their families have made while they're away. So in closing, on Veterans Day this year, think about the service that they've put into their country, and think about the sacrifices that them and their families have had to do overall to make sure that we're safe and to make sure that we continue with the greatest nation on earth. Thank you and happy Veterans Day. And as always, if you see a veteran on Veterans Day, whether it's grandma or grandpa or your aunt or uncle, brother or sister, mom or dad, or even a complete stranger in uniform, please go up and say thank you and happy Veterans Day. Thank you.
Greetings from the Veteran Service Officer. My name is Michaela Brito, and I've been your Veteran Service Officer for 3 years now. I'd just like to say 2020 has created a very unique situation for all, but we'll get through this together. Let me give you a quick history lesson about Veterans Day. This holiday is not a day that belongs to one veteran or multiple veterans. It's a day honoring all veterans. It was originally called Armistice Day, commemorating the end of World War I. World War I officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919. However, the fighting had ended about 7 months before with the Allied forces in Germany put it to effect as an armistice on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11th, 1918 was largely considered the end of the war to end all wars, and dubbed Armistice Day. In 1926, Congress officially recognized it as the end of the war, and in 1938, it became an official holiday, primarily a day set aside to honor World War I veterans. But then World War II, and then Korea, and then Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, and now OEF, OIF. So, on the urging of veterans organizations across the country, Congress amended the commemoration yet again and changed the word from Armistice to Veterans. So the day to honor all American veterans of all wars. In my office, every day is Veterans Day. I'm honored to be able to take care of the town of Raynham's veterans, their families, and those who support them. There are tasks I perform every day, but to be able to honor each and every one of you is my biggest accomplishment. I know I look forward to being able to meet in large groups again, celebrate my fellow veterans, and be able to have events supporting you also. For now, we must remain vigilant for each other. So please know that I do miss you dearly and look forward to meeting with you again soon.
Hello, this is Congressman Stephen Lynch. I hope this Veterans Day finds you and your family safe and well. This is a very different Veterans Day, however, and while we as Americans once again take pride in honoring and giving thanks to the men and women who have demonstrated their patriotism by their service and sacrifice, and especially to our Gold Star families, we must also acknowledge that the care and health benefits that we owe to our veterans is part of that national promise that we made to every son and daughter who has put on the uniform and made that decision to serve. Our obligations to our veterans is especially noteworthy in this time of pandemic, when we must redouble our efforts to provide for our veterans who receive treatment at our VA hospitals and our soldiers' homes. This pandemic has claimed far too many lives of our heroic veterans, and under conditions that do not reflect the love and the high esteem in which they were held by our nation. And following the long wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, often requiring multiple deployments for many in uniform, we must continue to address the elevated rate of PTSD and suicide among our veterans and active military. This is a shared responsibility that we owe to our veterans as a nation. During these challenging times when democracy is threatened around the globe, it's also important to be mindful that the rights and freedoms that we enjoy today as Americans only exist because generations of veterans have been willing to defend those rights and fight for those freedoms, and regrettably, when necessary, to give their lives so that we might live in peace. We owe so much to our veterans, and Margaret and I and our family wish all of our veterans and their families a safe and a happy Veterans Day. May God continue to bless these United States of America. Thank you.
Veterans Day is a day for us to stop and think about all of our fellow brothers that never returned, and those that returned that are still fighting the battles. I was in high school, and I enlisted. Actually, my father had a sign, and then it was like a delayed entry when I graduated. 6 months later, I went in the Navy and served, did my boot camp and everything, and got stationed on a destroyer out of Newport, Rhode Island. But that was my home base, but I was never there. If anybody knows anything about a destroyer, it's on the move all the time. So I did a round the world cruise. I did 2 Mediterranean cruises, and that was at age 17, 18. I just, and I saw places that I would never see, or probably never see again. And I'd like to tell, I'd like to, even though I'm an old veteran, I would still like to push the Navy, because kids that graduate high school and, everybody isn't college bound. The military is a good thing for young guys and girls. Thank you. and girls, because there's huge programs for them. You can do almost anything you want And and even after that, the GI Bill, you can continue on, you know. So, like I said, at 17, 18, 19 years old, I saw all the Orient, India, the Mediterranean, and by the time I got out, I was like 22 years old, and I had already did all the I thought I had did all the travel I want, but no, I still got the bug. I still want to travel.
Veterans Day, it's been always a day, even prior to my service. It's something I always took the time out to recognize the men and women that have served, that have given the ultimate sacrifice. When I got out of the service, it really kind of meant so much more to me, having had friends that I lost. I was in the United States Air Force. I was a helicopter technician. I was actually in college, and I wasn't enjoying myself in college, and my father had been in the Air Force, and I just kind of one day went to the recruitment office and I joined. And I was, my friends called me like Private Benjamin, if you remember the movie. Like, I couldn't even pump my own gas, and they're like, they couldn't believe that I had done this. And then to turn around and be a helicopter mechanic kind of really blew some minds, and my own as well.
I, for one, am going to miss the kids this year, especially the little ones.
Yeah.
They parade, and their enthusiasm during these gatherings is just tremendous. They are really involved, and I, for one, have been to every one of them, except I think I missed one. I'm not sure. But it's an event that brings to the kids at the school the personal ventures of veterans. And I, for one, like I say, I'm going to miss being there with them.
My service started back in 98, back before 9/11. And really the military wasn't the cool thing to do back then. So I get in the military. I was deployed on a peacekeeping mission to Bosnia. You know, Bosnia never led the news. It was always, later on, oh, this is happening. Came home, there wasn't any reporters, wasn't any family, wasn't any big to-do. And then after 9/11, I was deployed with my unit to Afghanistan, and we did several patrols over there, different missions, interacting with the populace over there, helping rebuild schools and all that stuff, and really getting into the community, just like if we were here at home. And then when we returned back from Afghanistan, there was more flags, there were news reporters that wanted to talk to us, there were family and friends that wanted to greet us, and it was like the light was turned on. And then a few years later, we went to Iraq, and now when the unit's coming home, now the highway's shut down and people are over overpasses. And just to see from the first time I was deployed all the way up through the support now is just phenomenal. And now being an active reservist where, in this community, like after this is done, I'm going to stop by Walmart and pick something up, and somebody's going to thank me for my service, mainly because they've been in and around town long enough, and the stuff that we're doing is rubbing off on everybody, and they're seeing the good that the veterans and the people who support the veterans in town are doing. So it's really come a long way, and I've helped with I think since 2013 with the Raynham Middle School assembly.
Yes.
And I actually some of my kids are now in high school and you know they've you know grown relationships and everything, and some kids that they may not have hung out with in high school or in middle school, now they're hanging out with them and they're like, oh, Mr. Buckley, you're that guy who talked to us at the middle school years ago. And so now it's you know it's kind of come full circle. As they're getting older, the message really resonates with the students.
Jared lived by, you know, 3 great principles, and if we can get our young people to adopt those principles, the principle of always trying your hardest, whether it's in sports or whether it's in school doing their schoolwork, just always try your hardest. And then the second principle of never giving up. And again, if the child is struggling with mathematics or English or history, not to fold up the book and walk away, but to never give up on it. And again, whether that's sports or school or life itself, don't give up on it. And then, of course, as you mentioned, the third great principle was always do the right thing, which in many cases for young people is very traumatic and very unpopular with their peers. That they get bullied and they get laughed at sometimes when they do the right thing. But if they have the courage to do that, they will live a much better life.
See the different colors, and they all have a certain word connected with it. But the words I would use overall for the whole flag is courage, bravery, commitment, loyalty, and the stripes. There's 13 red and white stripes, and those stripes stand for the 13 original colonies. And the stars on the blue background, there are 50. 1 star for every state in our country. And when I would teach the kiddos in school how to stand, basically, you know, feet together, nice and straight, your right hand over your heart, you're not leaning on your desk, you're standing kind of at attention, just being respectful of our flag, which is a symbol of our country. And due to our veterans and military, this symbol means freedom. And they are the ones that are called to duty 24/7 to keep us all free. So this is very important. And I tell the kids now that we have the flags in town, when you get on the bus or you're with mom and dad and you ride through the center of town, look at these flags and just think how lucky we are. And should you see a veteran along the way, like Chris said, many people just reach out and say thank you.
Good morning. I'd like to say thank you to all the brave, honorable men and women who have sacrificed so much to give us protection and our freedom. This past year, due to coronavirus, all of us have experienced what it feels like to not be able to see our friends and extended family. Everyone I know has missed being able to be with their friends and loved ones for months. People that join the military give up this family and friend time to do a job to protect all of us. Maybe now we can all relate a little bit to what they are going through on a daily basis while they are away. Maybe we can be more thankful to them for their services. Here at Raynham Middle School, we have many students and staff members that have an immediate family member currently serving our country in active military duty or as a reservist in the military. Whether they are stationed here in the United States or in a faraway country, we thank them today for defending this country that we love, the country that we live in and we call home, America. I'd like to read the list of students and staff members missing their loved ones while they serve our country. In 5th grade, we have Brayson Moss, whose mother, Amanda Moss, and father, Kevin Moss, are both in the Air Force. We have Delenix Thermitis, whose brother Godney is in the Navy. 6th grade, we have Braden Kareem, whose father Colby is in the Navy. Olivia and Annabelle Gately's father, Adam Gately, is an Army cyberspace operation technician. Kaya Polson's brother, Cameron Polson, is in the Air Force. Kevin Marrera Jr.'s father, Kevin Marrera, is in the Army. Zachary Thompson's father, Alex Thompson, is in the military. Brianna Messenger's brother, Chris Johnson, is in the Air Force. Sariana Thurston's aunt is in the military. In 7th grade, we have Lily Marrera, whose father, Kevin Marrera, is in the Army. Ainsley Yates, whose brother, Cameron Yates, a former RMS student, is in the Navy. Kara Pitta, uncle Sean Pitta, is in the Navy. In 8th grade, we have Candom Swinton, whose father, Clearon Swinton, is an Army sergeant. Riley Ann Thielen's father, Larry Thielen, is an Air Force Reserve. Amalia Feliciano's father, Angel Feliciano, is in the Army Reserves. Erin Somers' father, Fred Somers, is a Master Army Sergeant. Kylie Murray's aunt, Michaela Donahue, is in the Army. Eric Arena, his father, Eric Arena Sr., is in the Army. And then we have staff members. Mrs. Charette, whose daughter, Kara Charette, is in the Army. Ms. Goldmacher's brother, Eric, is in the Air Force. Ms. Sonleitner's brother, Jerry Babcock, is in Navy Reserves. Ms. Siliberto from the pre-K, her fiance, Kevin McIntyre, is in the Marines. When you next talk to your loved ones, please let them know that all of us here at Raynham Middle School thank them and wish them a safe return home in the near future. In addition to all the names I just mentioned, I'd like to pay tribute this year to another special person. One of our guidance counselors, Mrs. Trainer's 89-year-old father, passed away in March. Mr. Arnold Hayes was a career serviceman who served in the Army for 30 years. He served in Korea, Japan, and Panama. He held the rank of Command Sergeant Major. We express our sincere condolences to Sergeant Hayes' family and appreciate his years of service to our country. Thank you.
We wish to thank everyone who participated in this program and made it possible today, especially our Raynham Channel and Raycam Executive Director Michael Halen, Raynham Veterans Agent Michaela Brito, Rave Coordinator Becky George, and Rave salute to our Veterans Chair Sandy Leahy and Co-Chair Chris Buckley. And we ask you to please join us remembering on this day and every day all of our veterans and members of the military.
When a military service person dies, a very special ceremony called military honors is held at the gravesite. The rendering of military funeral honors is a way to show the nation's deep gratitude to those who, in times of war and peace, have faithfully defended our country. The ceremonial paying of respect is the final demonstration a grateful nation can provide to the veteran's family. Part of that ceremony is the playing of the song Taps. The bugle song Taps originated in the Civil War with the Army of the Potomac. Union General Brigadier General Daniel Butterfield didn't like the bugle call that signaled soldiers in the camp to put out the lights and go to sleep, and worked out the melody of taps with his brigade bugler, Private Oliver Wilcox Norton. The call later came into another use as a figurative call to sleep, to the sleep of death for soldiers who have passed. Please stand and place your hand over your heart as a sign of respect for all fallen veterans. We are now going to show you the flag folding ceremony, which represents the same religious principles on which our great country was originally founded.
The portion of the flag denoting honor is the canton of blue containing the stars representing states our veterans served in uniform. The canton field is of blue dresses from left to right and is inverted only when draped as a pall on the casket of a veteran who has served our country honorably in uniform. When the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our national motto, "In God We Trust." Fold 1. The 13 stripes represent the original 13 states: Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland, South Carolina, New Hampshire, Virginia, New York, North Carolina, and Rhode Island. Fold 2. The 50 stars represent our 50 United States of America. Fold 3. Patrick Henry once stated, "I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." Fold 4. Thomas Paine stated, "These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands for it now deserves the love and thanks of men and women." Fold 5. From the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Fold 6. From the United States Constitution, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. Fold 7. From the First Amendment of the Constitution, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Fold 8. George Washington once stated, "The basis of our political system is the right of the people to make and to alter their constitutions of government." Fold 9. From Thomas Jefferson, "My God, how little do my countrymen know what precious blessings they are in possession of, and which no other people on earth enjoy." Fold 10. From Abraham Lincoln, "87 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal." Fold 11. From an inscription on the Statue of Liberty written by Emma Lazarus, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Fold 12, from John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. The final fold, fold 13, from Martin Luther King, Jr. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. At this time, the flag would be presented to the next of kin. As the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it has the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, and were followed by their comrades and shipmates in the United States Armed Forces, preserving for us the rights, privileges, and freedoms we enjoy today. The folded flag is then presented as a keepsake to the next of kin or an appropriate family member. Each flag is presented to its own branch of military service.